If you want to learn what is an externally provided worker for R&D tax relief, stick around and find out in today's episode of the R&D Tax Show. Let's go! Welcome to the R&D Tax Show, where we help accountants, tax advisors, and their clients claim R&D tax relief. So today, we're going to talk about the tricky subject of an externally provided worker, EPW for short. So firstly, what is an EPW? And I think the best way to describe it is, let's say there is a claimant company, that's the one doing the R&D, and it needs staff or workers, let's say, to do certain aspects of the R&D. It doesn't want to subcontract any of the work, but it needs people to be involved on a day-to-day basis. People that they can manage, control, let them know on a day-to-day basis of what to do. So what this company would do is they'd go to a staff provider, and they will find the staff for the claimant company. So although the work is coming via somebody else other than the claimant company can still claim the costs through externally provided worker costs in the R&D tax claim. So that's generally what an EPW is. Obviously, the staff controller must have the actual employees themselves, and they'll have their own contracts with them and their own agreements of who they can outsource, who they can work with. Also important at this point is to distinguish the difference between an EPW and a subcontractor. So a subcontractor is where, if I'm doing an R&D tax claim, I need a specific part of development done. I will then look for someone, find someone and say, hey, can you do this specific thing for my development? They won't be under my control. I wouldn't be managing them on a day-to-day basis. I need this done. I need testing done. Do this testing. They would do the testing and give me the results. That's what a subcontractor is. An EPW is, I need testing done. I don't want to get a subcontractor. I want people working with me so I can manage them. So I will then go to a staff controller. They will provide me with their staff and they will work within my company under my control. So that's the difference. And it's a major difference to make because in some cases you can't include subcontractor costs in the R&D tax claim, and you can include EPW costs. So in them points, it's important to know the difference between a subcontractor and an EPW. Now let's get to how we treat the R&D costs of an EPW. And similar to a subcontractor, the EPW costs, the way we claim those EPW costs depends on whether the EPW is connected or unconnected. Now, inevitably, I'll go into what a connected party is now. And it's generally the same thing for all companies. So I'm assuming you can know the rules. If you want me to talk about it more and go into more detail, just let me know in the comments below or drop me a message on LinkedIn and I'll make a specific video for that. But generally, it's when company A owns company B, they're connected. A single person owns company A and B, they'll be connected. And that chain can go on, and it can involve multiple people. But generally, if they're in the same group, under the same control, they're going to be connected. So if it's an unconnected EPW, it's nice and simple. The amount the claimant company pays out, you cap that at 65%. And you include that in the R&D tax claim. The reason why we're capping that at 65% is because HMRC argue that 35% of the cost is actually profit for the staff controller, so it's not technically R&D. So that's why we include that 65%. Now let's go into what we do when we have a connected EPW. So what we do in this case is take the lower of what the claimant company pays the staff provider and the actual relevant cost incurred by the staff provider. So you have to look at the 12 months of R&D costs that you've paid this company, and also look at the 12 months of the R&D costs that this staff provider has paid for its EPWs. You then compare the two costs and you take the lower one, and that's what you include into the R&D tax claim. And that's bloody so important. It's really, really important that you know whether the EPW is connected or not, because it's one of the big mistakes that people make when doing an R&D tax claim. And I am not making that up, because it's something that HMRC has clearly stated on its website. The connected party rules are not fully understood because they're bloody complex and people get them wrong. So please know what you're doing before you do it. That's what I want to say about EPWs today. I think all the things I've talked about today, the main thing is knowing the difference between an EPW and a subcontractor. If you're still confused, go back and watch the beginning part of the video again where I explain the difference. If you've got any questions, give me a shout. I'm available on LinkedIn. You can also drop me a comment down below in YouTube. But also, I'm also Facebook group. Sorry, I lost my memory for a sec. We've also got a Facebook group specifically for accountants where we answer your questions, and the link is below for that too. So I'll catch you guys next week. Goodbye.